Get ready to dive into the comic book realm where heroes rise and villains take the helm. We're here to dissect the stories and the art. On source material, we tear the panels apart.
All right, we're getting into issues 5 through 8. Script by Ollie Masters, art by Eowyn Marin.
Who is no man.
Colors by Adam Metcalf and letters by Ed Dukeshire. Issues 5 through 8. Let me get into our... I will just throw out some things that I found out about the series before I jump into the synopsis. Kurt Sutter's involvement ensured that Redwood Original remained faithful to the television series lore, although not faithful to what we wanted. Ollie Masters collaborated closely with Sutter, submitting scripts and character designs for approval to maintain consistency with established canon. This collaboration extended to characters' nuances, such as Gemma's manipulative charm and Clay's authoritarian demeanor, ensuring their younger depictions align with their television counterparts. Sutter's oversight lent the sense of authenticity, bridging gaps in the SAMCRO timeline without contradicting existing narratives. There isn't much in these 3 volumes that really stands out to me, like a mischaracterization or something weird that happens in the timeline. It's not too hard to tell like a prequel, but still you definitely want to put some stuff out there. You'd be like, oh, you don't want to see stuff where Jax would do something completely out of line or whatever. Redwood Original complements Boom Studios' earlier Sons of Anarchy comics, which explore storylines concurrent with the television series. By focusing on a prequel narrative, the comic franchise deepens the mythology of SAMCRO, offering fans new insights into character motivations and historical events referenced in the show. For instance, the comic's depiction of Jax's early clashes with Kay foreshadows their eventual rivalry, while Opie's ambivalence toward the club hints at his later struggles with loyalty. All right, synopsis for 5 through 8. Jax Teller, he's drifting. Exiled from SAMCRO, weighed down by his father's legacy and his own reckless mistakes, he spends his days drowning in liquor and regrets. But the world isn't waiting for him to figure himself out.
Don't forget the dildos.
And dildos. Could you imagine?
I'm drowning in dildos.
That's this drunk poor guy.
I need to feel something.
The world isn't waiting for him to figure himself out. The club is under fire, and a ghost without a club tie is making moves against them. Clay, desperate to keep control, scrambles to offload the drugs that have put them in danger, striking a tense deal with Leroy Wayne of the 1-9ers. But Leroy smells desperation and turns the screws, leaving Clay fuming. Meanwhile, Jax, drunken, defiant, stumbles onto a new mystery, the identity of the freelancer gunning for SAMCRO. Determined to prove himself, he takes matters into his own hands, tracking down the enforcer and launching a brutal attack. But the man is no easy prey, and Jax barely escapes with his life. As he staggers from the scene, he knows one thing: he's going to finish what he started. While Jax wages his own war, the Sons come under siege. That same man opens fire with a sniper rifle on Clay and his crew, pinning them down inside a fast food joint. The attack is coordinated, precise. Whoever this guy is, he is not just some hired thug. Clay fights his way out, but the ambush leaves them rattled. Back at the clubhouse, Jax finally returns beaten but determined and lays a duffel bag of stolen guns on the table, proof that he's still a son at heart. Clay, initially ready to shut him down again, sees something different this time. Jax tracked down their enemy, bled for the club, and risked everything to fix his mistakes. Begrudgingly, Clay give him another shot, offering him his prospect cut back. But Jax has one condition: Opie prospects with him. Clay agrees, knowing it'll be a fight to get Piney on board, but for now, the club is whole again. With a fragile peace settling over SAMCRO, Clay sets up his final play. In a move of ruthless strategy, he orchestrates a way to sell the drugs to the 1-9ers, then leaks the location to their enemy, allowing them to steal the product back. The enforcer gets what he wants, SAMCRO saves face, and Clay closes the book on this nightmare without ever looking weak. That's a big thing about Clay. It's a classic Clay move, brutal, efficient, and entirely self-serving. Meanwhile, Jax and the rest of the club ride into the city for a hard-earned night of celebration. The firelight flickers, drinks are poured, and Jax is officially back. But as Clay steps away to take a call from their old adversary, his unreadable expression says it all. The war may be over, but the road ahead is still paved in blood. Just when it seems like things are settling, violence comes crashing back in. A white van screeches into the clubhouse lot, tires spitting dirt as masked figures spill out. Bats swing, fists fly, it's an ambush. In the chaos, Jax is overpowered, dragged, kicking and screaming into the van, his struggle swallowed by the roar of the engine as it speeds into the night. Clay, battered on the ground, lifts his head in time to see his surrogate son ripped away from him. The night air is thick with stunned silence, but everyone knows Jax Teller's fight is far from over. There we go. That is a synopsis for the ages of 5 through 8. Our second volume
This
here,
is
Sons of Anarchy. Go ahead.
Classic Jax. Classic, like, I'm all the way on the outs. I have to prove myself. Jax is one of those, like, I'll fight everybody. Jax will go into a bar and stand there against like a dozen Marines and be like, I'll take y'all on. And, gets his ass beat. But he fearless to the point of stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to prove himself to Clay. He goes after, Trenchcoat McGee, and he gets him. And, he comes out a little worse for wear, but the guy got a couple of good licks too. I need to talk about the Clay and the one-liners thing, because, like, your synopsis there is good, but I think what needs to be said is the lack of foresight Clay has. The one-liners are legion. There's so many of them.
There's a lot.
And SAMCRO, by comparison, is so small. They're tiny, almost ineffectual. The reason why they kind of just stick to guns and they stick to charming is it's a small little island that they can defend. If SAMCRO decided they were going to expand into Oakland or whatever, and take on the one-liners, they'd be dead.
Yeah.
There's like 20 one-liners to every one SAMCRO guy. And if you'll remember from the series, Bobby saying to Jax, like, we exist because we have tenuous partnerships with different organizations. When you start shifting the balance, you put those relationships at risk. Everyone else is going to survive this.
Mm-hmm.
We are small players in a very large and cutthroat world.
Right.
And Clay never acknowledges that.
Right.
Clay always thinks that SAMCRO's bite is bigger than its bark.
Right.
And so when he's sitting there and he's like, let me set up the one-liners to get to get blown away by this other group so that we can get away with having sold the drugs and get the drugs back to their rightful owner, and it'll just cost us some one-liners, who cares? It's like, you don't think the one-liners are going to figure that out and come at you with their legions? Are you nuts? And the answer is yes.
What's the word for somebody that wants to, they'll do just about anything they can so they don't look like they lost face? Because I think that's what Clay. Last time, I expect you to inject some professional actual commentary here, because I know what you do for a living. It's not narcissism, is it? I mean,
it can be, yeah.
Okay. I mean,
that was what I was going to say before I decided to be cheeky.
Well, that's what Clay is, though. Yeah. He found himself into a corner, and in order for him to get himself out, there's always got to be something so they don't know that he was backed into a corner. He's the one with the upper hand, and now everything looks good. It doesn't come back on him, and he isn't taking this shot. That's Clay. That's how he does that. So my notes here start out with, we open this book with Jax staying at Piney and Opie's. And it's not a good scene. Piney's getting tired of him being there. Not only that, but he goes in while Jax is drunk and passed out. There's a nudie mag on the floor and a crumpled up white piece of paper. And I'm like, dude, did you legitimately do that at Piney's on the couch and just leave your remnants there on the floor?
Use strikes, Jesse. Come on now.
Shouldn't be striking at other people's house in the living room. Okay, there's a bathroom.
I can't help when I need to get shit done.
Don't blame Piney for wanting him out. Piney's like, this guy's been here. Obviously, Jax doesn't want to go back to the clubhouse because of what's going on between him and Clay. Regardless, he doesn't want to go back home. Anyway, this volume furthers Gemma's dog-stealing plot against the one guy. Jax taking matter into his hands, getting in his good graces. Did you notice how the dialogue took a backseat to the action in this volume? I think it was issue 6 where we get no words. It's just the fight in the food joint. It starts here and it continues where we just get issue of just action. It's just drawn. We don't have a whole lot of dialogue.
I was mentioning to my girlfriend earlier, this was a much easier read than She-Hulk. I started this at 7 in the morning, and I think I was done by 10, maybe even earlier. And I remember She-Hulk took me hours to read. It was 12 issues. It was the same as this one. But for whatever reason, it was a denser book than this one. This one, it's not big on dialogue, thank God.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't
it's
need
a lot
to be.
of show don't tell. It's not a talkie book.
Right. And I think that I will absolutely give props to Ollie Masters if he's the one that decided, okay, you know what? This is a show don't tell. Let's go ahead, and this is what people come to watch the show for. They will enjoy this comic because it's going to feel a lot like the show. And that's kind of what I got. I love the whole fast food joint sequence where they're in there and it's a battle back and forth between, I think it's Clay and Tig, and Tig gets the bright idea of throwing the fire extinguisher up in the air and them shooting it. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I can tell you that I have no complaints about them dialing the dialogue back. Like I said, that continues throughout the end of the series. But issue 6, I think, is the first time we get to see that. I think that's happening when Jax confronts, I'm calling him the dreaded Satanist.
Okay.
He's got an upside down cross on his jacket. And he's got dreads. He's the dreaded Satanist. And that he's soon to be in the WWE pretty soon. He's right now in developmental.
Sure.
Okay, what else do we got? Oh, Jax barely makes it out alive. Didn't put this in the synopsis, but when he goes back home and Jonesy is sitting there waiting on him, I was like, oh, this is good. And again, consequences. You know, Jax just didn't fire that gun and then Jonesy go off into nowhere. He comes back, which I thought was great. I like that sequence where he comes back. Granted, not much happens other than Jax is just like, damn, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. And there's a lot of discussion about how, do you know what you did to me when you did that? We were friends and I can't get to sleep because I want to kill you. It's traumatizing. I love how they actually address that bit of trauma that Jonesy has just from that one small interaction that this kid has with a prospect of the club.
Right.
And Jax is very, at the end of the last volume, he's embracing the violence. He beats the shit out of that trucker.
Well, their whole philosophy is if I join, and I can kind of see the logic behind it, because why do people join? Why do people form groups?
Right.
Because a group is stronger than the single person. You know, why do people join gangs? Because they are scared, they are unprotected, and they feel like being a part of a gang gives them a sense of identity, especially with one who struggles with their own sense of identity. At least I'm part of this bigger thing. They feel like a gang will protect them from other gangs, by the way, whether it's the cops or other criminal organizations. So then the next step in the evolution of that thinking is, well, if I'm a part of this gang and this gang will always protect me, then there are no consequences for my behavior and I can act like an idiot. I talk about this all the time. Consequential thinking is what dictates your behavior. If you understand that whatever it is you're going to do will end in a consequence, then you have to measure whether or not you can accept that consequence, absorb it, or if you want to avoid it altogether, and that'll dictate your behavior. And when you don't feel like there are any consequences to what you're doing, you're going to do all kinds of crazy shit. The short-sightedness of which is the fallibility of the invincibility of this gang. You think Sons of Anarchy is this badass, invincible biker gang that can get away with all kinds of shit. Turns out it can't.
Right.
And that's what we're going to learn at the end of this book, is that because Jax fucked around and he got kidnapped for it.
Right. Yeah. I think at the end of this volume, it's a great cliffhanger ending. Jax is thrown into, this would be a mid-season finale of the show. He'd be thrown into a van, and then we got to wait another 12 weeks to pick up the rest of the season.
Let's compare it to what happens to Gemma with the Nazis. Because Gemma's another one who's dead to these entirely. It's wrapped up in two things. It's wrapped up in being a mom. She knows no other life than being a mother. And she knows no other life than being in a biker gang. Mm-hmm. It's 50-50. And she acts accordingly. It's like everything to maintain her position of matriarch and everything to maintain this biker gang. And it gets her raped for it. Mm-hmm. She was a soft target. She walked around cock of the walk thinking, well, who's going to attack the queen of this biker gang? And then there's old Henry Rollins, you know?
Yep.
And in the van she went. When you mentioned the van, it was like, isn't that how they got Gemma?
Yeah, they tricked her. My baby's choking.
They jumped her and they chained her up, and that was that.
Yeah.
And if you'll remember, they didn't just rape her because we are a bunch of sexual deviants. It was, we want to damage this gang in a way that will last. So they do it by sexually assaulting this woman, because it's a reminder that they can't protect the people that they say they can, which flies in the face of what this gang is supposed to be for. You join this gang for protection. They couldn't even protect Gemma.
Well, that's all I've got. I think the art takes a step up here, in my opinion. I think our final volume has some of the best art, if I remember correctly. I don't really have many other notes on this. You ready to go to the next one?
I'm ready when you are, Big Daddy.
Thanks for joining us. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, Please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.